Super Typhoon Yagi, one of the most ferocious tropical cyclones of 2024, has unleashed chaos across Asia, bringing torrential rains, powerful winds, and widespread destruction. As the second most powerful tropical cyclone in the world this year, Yagi's strength and devastating impact have left millions in its wake. From Hainan in China to the northern Philippines and Vietnam, Yagi's wrath has caused mass evacuations, power outages, and extensive damage. Let's dive deeper into how this storm, Asia's strongest of the year, has reshaped the landscape and lives of those in its path. Super Typhoon Yagi, formed over the warm seas east of the Philippines, developed into one of the most dangerous storms of 2024. With maximum sustained winds of 234 kilometers per hour, it became the strongest typhoon to strike Asia this year and the second most powerful cyclone on the planet, surpassed only by Hurricane Beryl, a Category 5 monster in the Atlantic. In the early stages of its life, Yagi struck the northern Philippines, claiming 16 lives and leaving a trail of destruction. But this was just the beginning. Over the course of a few days, Yagi more than doubled in strength, rapidly intensifying as it barreled towards China's Hainan province. On Friday, Super Typhoon Yagi made landfall in Hainan, a tropical island known for its beaches and tourist resorts. What was once a haven for vacationers quickly became a scene of destruction. Violent gales and heavy rain swept across the province, triggering widespread power outages, leaving 830,000 homes without electricity. As Yagi tore through Hainan, it uprooted trees, overturned vehicles, and damaged roads, bridges, and buildings. Despite the chaos, emergency teams were ready. A 7,000-member task force was immediately deployed to restore power. And by Friday night, electricity was restored to 260,000 homes. Yet the scale of the storm's impact remained vast. Hainan had not experienced a storm of this magnitude since 2014, when Typhoon Rammasun ravaged the island. Yagi's winds, exceeding 230 kilometers per hour, tested the island's infrastructure, leading to flight cancellations, business closures, and the complete paralysis of the province. This once bustling island, with its population of over 10 million, came to a standstill as people sheltered indoors, hoping for the storm to pass. Before Yagi's arrival, authorities in Hainan and neighboring Guangdong acted swiftly, ordering mass evacuations to safeguard lives. Over 1 million people were evacuated from areas at risk, with 574,500 people relocated in Guangdong alone. The city of Zhanjiang bore the brunt of these efforts as officials sought to prevent casualties and minimize the damage caused by Yagi's violent winds and surging waters. In the face of such a formidable storm, preparedness was key. Schools were closed, businesses shuttered, and transportation was brought to a halt in affected areas. Airports in Hong Kong, Macau, and Vietnam also ceased operations, with flights grounded and ferry services suspended to ensure the safety of travelers. Yagi was far from finished after wreaking havoc in Hainan. The storm crossed the Qiongzhou Strait and made a second landfall in Guangdong province, with winds still exceeding 200 kilometers per hour. Guangdong, home to one of China's largest populations, was already in the process of evacuating hundreds of thousands of people when Yagi struck. The coastal city of Zhanjiang was hit particularly hard as the storm brought heavy rain and strong winds that caused widespread flooding and structural damage. In Hong Kong, schools and businesses remained closed as the city prepared for the worst. The Hong Kong Stock Exchange suspended trading, and operations at the city's airport were brought to a halt as Yagi passed through the region. Fortunately, the worst of the storm bypassed the financial hub. And by Friday afternoon, the typhoon warning was downgraded and operations began to return to normal. As Yagi continued its westward march, its next target was Vietnam. The storm's projected path indicated landfall in Vietnam and Laos over the weekend, prompting authorities to issue warnings and begin evacuations in at-risk areas. While the exact impact remained uncertain, Vietnam had already begun to brace for the incoming storm by shutting airports and moving residents out of low-lying areas. Despite the destruction left behind in China, Vietnam had the advantage of time, giving residents and authorities a critical window to prepare. As the storm moved towards Southeast Asia, millions remained on high alert. Stay tuned for updates as we continue to cover the impacts of Super Typhoon Yagi and the ongoing recovery efforts across Asia.